And right before the break, this was...
The WNBA keeps embarrassing themselves, acting like a totalitarian government. Enes Kanter went to the Chicago Sky versus Indiana Fever game in Chicago. Before he even got in, left-leaning lunatics were attacking him. And then at the game, the left-leaning organization, the WNBA lunatics, kicked him out. They are scrambling right now to figure out what a woman is after former NBA players like Enes and Royce White are declaring themselves as women, making them eligible to be drafted for the WNBA. So in response to this, the WNBA brings out this weird-looking mascot. You can tell me if you think that this looks like a turtle. It is actually a mascot for the LGBTQ movement, and apparently it has she, they pronouns. Okay, so they're definitely taking a side and attacking conservatives, not allowing them in their games based on their dress, what they're wearing, or based on their political beliefs. This is Enes Kanter being attacked before even getting into the stadium.
I'm not touching him. I'm just saying, fuck you, bitch.
You were sorry in the league. You were sorry in the league. Sorry, yeah. You were sorry in the league. You were sorry in the league. You wouldn't even do good in this league. You sorry ass. Sorry. Now you ain't good. You ain't good here. You ain't good here. You got...
So threatening him because he went to a basketball game, seriously, and then at the game kicking him out because he displayed that men have a much larger wingspan than women. Compare his male size to these females. Yet the WNBA wants to have trans athletes, and they've been getting calls to have this French player who is a trans athlete come and play for them. And they have actually entertained this thought. They have also put, hey, trans fans, glad you're here. So they're totally in support of men identifying as women being allowed to play, not just for the WNBA, but in high schools all across America. They allow fans to have shirts that say trans kids belong, but they kick them out when they have two X's on their shirt, which is the scientific symbol for what a woman is. They made those women cover up their shirt and then came out saying that they're sorry about it. They have their players saying that they support trans women playing on the league. This is the female that they have, entertained the idea of her playing, and this female, that female has even responded to this saying that he would be interested in it. But yet, somebody like Enes Kanter, who is pointing out all of the lunacy, gets kicked out for just being at the game. So trans people are supposed to be allowed to play on the court, but he gets kicked out, identifies as a woman, and gets kicked out for just being in the stands. Really shows what the WNBA actually thinks about men who identify as women. They believe that it is a lie. They think that it is a joke. You cannot just actually identify as a woman and become it's fault that they were unable to handle their own emotions. Their presence, it just makes them so erratic. And that's not their own fault for not being able to control their emotions. The poor liberal, it is so annoying. You have coaches who address the trans athlete topic and say that they should belong and stuff.
This before, transgender kids belong. And I think...
But yet somebody like Enes Kanter doesn't belong in the court or even in the stadium for that matter. This is after being kicked out.
That is the reason that they're kicking me out. This is unacceptable.
Absolutely zero right to kick out Enes. Anybody stands up during a game. Who is not allowed to stand up in a game? Who gets kicked out because their shirt says woman on it? So that is what's happening with the WNBA right now. Here's him in the process of being kicked out. Like, dude paid for courtside tickets. I was looking at those. They're in the thousands of dollars. Okay. He didn't get a seat in the back. He paid a lot of money to be able to go sit in the court. Now, this is completely backfiring because you think that people are going to see this and be like, oh my gosh, we shouldn't actually be supportive of like real women, or we can't stand up for what we believe in because then we're going to have to do this walk of shame in front of everybody and get kicked out. That's what the WNBA wants. But actually, everybody is standing behind Ennis and pointing out how ridiculous the WNBA is for doing this. And Ennis isn't the first person to be kicked out either. But that Dijonay girl, and I can only recognize her by that really fake looking hair, but she also complained about a fan one time. He was making her uncomfortable or something. You know, fans are allowed to cheer or, you know, stand up in games. But this girl made a complaint before, and another fan who paid for a ticket also got kicked out because she was uncomfortable. Do they not want people to actually watch their games? They're so uncomfortable by actual attention being brought to their games.
Sophie Cunningham shot a three, and I put my hands up to celebrate.
He was celebrating. So I was thinking that maybe the other girl who was angry missed her shot and he was going like, haha, or something like that. It wasn't even like that. He was celebrating in support of the team that he was there to support, that he paid thousands of dollars to support, and then they kicked him out.
Right? Literally a couple positions later, Natasha came back and started screaming and yelling and said, she's not going to sleep with you. I just got up and then I was like, I'm just here to protect women and that's all. Right?
She should be in trouble for telling that to a fan. Imagine your players are yelling at fans who are supporting the organization that you work for. It's like I used to work for Dairy Queen. Imagine if somebody came in and bought an ice cream cone and I was like, that's going to make you fat. Do you think that Dairy Queen would continue to employ me for harassing a customer who's supporting the organization that I work for? No, that is the most ridiculous thing ever.
Right? And then she started to yell. She started to...
That's the type of behavior that should get somebody benched and fined. Just like Dijonay should have been fined for her uncalled for attack on Sophie Cunningham.
Used some very heavy language. She started to actually cuss. And I was very shocked that there were a lot of kids and there were a lot of teenagers was at that game. And I just cannot believe that she was just cussing and using those F-bombs in front of all these kids.
Yeah, in front of all these kids. But the WNBA is straight up embarrassing. They're embarrassing themselves just like the entire LGBTQ movement does. Cussing in front of kids, pushing this type of transgender insanity on infants. That's what they do. How can you be so out of touch with reality to be like, how dare he call a woman an adult human female? Oh my gosh, this definitely is cause for us to get this creepy mascot and kick out people who disagree with us. Like, grow up. Okay, this guy is an American hero like Sophie Cunningham. He became a citizen in 2021. He should be, you would think, that leftists, they support men identifying as women. They support immigrant rights, trans immigrant rights. Imagine that. And yet they're kicking him out. So ridiculous. Look at that. Turkish government revoked his passport and put him on the most wanted terrorist list. The WNBA is acting worse than the Turkish government. This is ridiculous. All because he supports real women. We shouldn't have a big organization like the WNBA saying that boys should be able to play in girls' sports in high schools and putting them in danger, that they should be able to go into their locker rooms, that on field trips, they should be sleeping in the same beds as them. These are actual feminists, not the crazy kinds. This is an actual woman, not the crazy kind. So Sophie Cunningham, again, why is she the only person putting her hand on her heart during the national anthem? Everybody knows that that is what you're supposed to do. And I've seen a lot of your guys' comments saying, why is Caitlin Clark also not putting her hand on her heart? Okay, so this is just amazing that Ennis and Royce have made a new ad for the WNBA. Look at that. That's so funny.
Being a woman. is not so black and white, and size doesn't matter.
I mean, I went and talked to all of these liberals, and they tell me that Enes Kanter, him, I showed them videos of freaking Royce White wearing a wig and talking about, you know, the trans mistreatment that he's getting. And they're like, yep, that's a woman. Let her play. That's what all of the LGBTQ people are saying. So what even is the WNBA doing? Like, they're losing their crap right now. Like, finally, people are showing up to their games. Finally, they're selling out stadiums, and their response to this is to begin kicking people out. Come on, ladies, Indiana Fever, put your hand on your heart. Don't be crazy. Here's Sophie Cunningham. She hasn't been backing down on her stance, which is amazing. People asked her, what rap songs do you listen to before games? And she is actually listening to country music. Come on, baby, let's go. Boot Scootin', I think it was the Boot Scootin' Boogie that she was listening to. And so, yeah, she's not backing down.
People are like, hey, you guys have a huge platform. Use it. Well, once you use it, hey, stick to basketball. You're an athlete. And it's like, you can't satisfy anyone. So you might as well just be yourself and beat to your own drum. And that's what I do. And I'm 100% okay and happy and at peace with who I am. There's always growth and you can always be better. But I do think that that's something America can get better at, is maybe not always agreeing with people, but also just showing peace and love. It's okay to disagree.
You know, like, she really doesn't seem like she's the most, like, far right person either. She's just like, you're kind of like a normal everyday girl who is just sharing her thoughts on things, important issues. So apparently Caitlin Clark did really good, scoring 21 points, yet a lot of people are pointing out that she missed an important shot in overtime, in crunch time. And then during the game, when she made a 3-pointer, that girl, is her name Dejanay? I think it is. She goes afterwards, is this what she calls white privilege? So after she does that, she turns around and, you know, flips her hair. Like, what a jerk. Meanwhile, in Washington, D.C., we have the IndyCar Freedom 250. Look at the stealth bomber. That's crazy. People always say if you ever look up in the sky and you see some pixels are missing, then you should be concerned. But check out this bald eagle that was also making an appearance. How can you not be impressed by this beautiful bald eagle? Make sure you guys are subscribed. I'll see you next time. Bye.